WFVX, I'm Peter Dubois.
And I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, Dennis DeShane is serving a life sentence without parole for the 1988 murder of 12-year-old Sarah Cherry.
But this morning, he pleaded his innocence once again. Our Doug Banks takes us to Knox County Superior Court for the first day of a two-day hearing.
In a new chapter for one of Maine's most infamous murder cases, Dennis DeShane appeared in Knox County Superior Court, handcuffed and taking a moment to look into the gallery as he once again seeks a new trial. DeShane is currently serving a life sentence with no parole for kidnapping, torturing, sexually assaulting, and murdering 12-year-old Sarah Cherry in 1988. On Thursday, a DNA expert was cross-examined about pieces of evidence found at the scene, including a scarf, DNA evidence found under Cherry's left fingernail, and the lack of evidence the defense claims would have been found on DeShane's body if he killed Cherry. Defense attorney John Nail claims the DNA evidence found under Cherry's fingernail is not DeShane's, but rather the actual murderer. Assistant Attorney General Don McCumber claims the defense is putting their own, quote, spin on the DNA evidence and states DeShane's DNA was found on a stick used to assault Cherry. DeShane has made several attempts over the past 2 decades to get a new trial. This most recent attempt continues Friday. In Rockland, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, police are investigating a crash on the interstate, and they're hoping that the public may be of some assistance. Just after 9:30 last night, Maine State Police were called to a single vehicle crash on I-95 northbound in Fairfield. A Jeep Grand Cherokee was on its roof in the median, and bystanders were helping the occupants. A state police spokesperson says 35-year-old Jamal Gerard of Rockland, who was a passenger, was able to crawl out of the vehicle. He sustained minor injuries. The driver, 25-year-old Derek Plowden of Rockland, had to be extricated. He was transported to a hospital where he is in stable but critical condition. The spokesperson says speed and suspected impairment are likely factors in that crash, and anyone with any additional information is being asked to contact Trooper Randy Hall. That number is 624-7076, extension 9.
A police standoff came to a peaceful end in Winslow. Authorities say a man armed with a baseball bat and knife was held up in a home on North Pond Road for 9 hours before agreeing to surrender. That was after the state police tactical team was heard breaking the windows in the home and ordering the man to drop his weapons. Police haven't released the man's name or why the standoff got underway.
The Bangor Police Department is warning the public about another case of someone impersonating an officer in an attempt to scam people out of their money. Sergeant Jason McCambly says a resident got a call from someone claiming to be Sergeant Ed Potter of the Bangor Police Department. The scammer reportedly told the person they had missed jury duty and needed to pay $3,000 using Coinstar. Sergeant McCambly says the caller even went as far as to obtain information on social media about the person they were trying to scam, and they also created a voicemail identifying themselves as Sergeant Potter. Thankfully, the person who received the call realized the scam for what it was and contacted police. Sergeant McCambly reminds the public that law enforcement will never reach out to demand payment for a fine.
Orono police are cracking down on drivers who pass stopped school buses following recent complaints. Our David Ledford tells us more about how they're doing so.
If we're there to see it for ourselves, then we can take immediate enforcement action.
Those are my babies. I just want to keep them safe.
Bus driver Jessica Steves transports around 80 Orono students to and from school every day. And since the start of the school year, she says hundreds of drivers have driven right past her stop signs and flashing lights.
I've been keeping a tally. We are at 254.
She asked the town to address the issue. And just last week, Orono police began tailing school buses every morning and afternoon. Police say they've already pulled over several drivers and issued tickets.
We did find people in violation. A couple we issued criminal violations too, because it is a criminal violation. It's a Class E crime in the state of Maine to pass a stopped school bus.
Police say the main goal of the effort is to put a stop to dangerous driving in the area and promote public safety, but they're also hoping to educate people.
We want to educate the public on the importance of this topic. It is a law and it is a criminal violation for a reason. This whole campaign is about safety and increasing recognition about what we're doing while we're driving.
Orono police will continue to follow the buses until the end of the school year, eventually reporting back to the town council with their findings. Steve says she hopes the crackdown will help to prevent a tragedy from happening.
I'm just hoping to keep my kids safe. It's my job to get them to and from school safely, and I need the community to help me with that.
In Orono, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, switching gears now, lawmakers spent their last hours in session debating and passing the supplemental budget and finalizing the passage of a suite of gun control bills. The legislature officially adjourned a little before 6 a.m. today. Prior to dismissing legislators, House Speaker Rachel Talbot Ross had a message for them.
That does conclude our work for I would say for the day, but for the past 2 days. I want to offer my sincerest thanks to each and every one of you for your dedicated service and for what is obviously a great, deep love for the people of the state of Maine.
Well, the governor has 10 days to veto any of the bills passed in the last day of the legislative session. Otherwise, all laws passed not under emergency measure will go into effect 90 days after adjournment.
And when the legislature adjourned, they did leave a number of bills on the table likely to never see the light of day. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard takes a look at some of those bills.
I think it's too bad because I think it's good for the children of Maine. It's something we've been fighting for all along.
One of the bills left tabled was LD 779, a bipartisan bill that would have separated the Office of Child and Family Services from Maine DHHS. Supporters of the bill say the reason it didn't receive a vote in the House was because it was likely to be vetoed by the governor.
It's a good bipartisan bill. I have a lot of respect for Senator Timberlake. I think he did a great job in terms of shepherding it along. The House tabling it, unfortunately, they're giving in to the pressure from the administration.
Another bill that was passed by the Senate and tabled by the House was LD 1215, which would have banned the sale of flavored tobacco and vape products in Maine.
And in the meantime, because of this inaction, there are 2,500 Maine kids who try cigarettes for the first time every single year. And there's now another year of opportunity for tobacco companies to target kids through flavored tobacco products. And that is the most disappointing part of all.
In the final hours of the legislature, lawmakers gave their final approval for 3 gun control bills. One that expands background checks to include advertised private sales, instituting a 72-hour waiting period on all firearm purchases, and banning bump stock-like devices. One bill left on the table was the Extreme Risk Protection Order bill, otherwise known as a red flag law.
Of course, we are disappointed that the Speaker's bill did not advance. Maine definitely needs a true extreme risk protection order, but we can't lose sight of the very meaningful progress that we have made towards reducing gun violence.
All tabled bills would have to be resubmitted in the next legislature in order to be reconsidered. At the State House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, and now as we shift our attention to the outdoors, looking back, today was just a gem outside.
Yeah, it was just fantastic. There's not much else to say other than we'd like more of today, please.
Yes, please.
All right, and on that note, let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast and see what else is coming, at least in the overnight.
Thank you so much, and what a beautiful day out there today. Temperatures around 60 degrees here in town, Waterville, right at the coast, a little bit cooler, Rockland, Bar Harbor, some low to mid 50s, but hey, still it was in the 50s, so a good looking day was in the region. We saw lots of sunshine as well, just a few passing clouds. More of the thicker clouds are downstate. We're talking right at that border down south, Augusta, Portland area. They're looking at more thicker clouds that will be moving into our area, but closer to tomorrow night into the day on Saturday. Now look at the winds, 14 miles an hour here in town, 9 by Bar Harbor, and we're going to continue to see some pretty gusty winds overnight as temperatures continue to cool off, hovering in those low to mid 30s.
Alrighty, and still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, Hudson University students showcase their research projects covering a wide range of fields.
And a newly announced student enrollment program could help community college students further their education. Those stories and more when we come right back.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
Transform your surroundings with Paramount Paving, located in Bangor. They are your paving and seal coating experts. Whether it's residential maintenance to full commercial projects, Paramount Paving delivers quality that lasts. Book before June 1st and enjoy a $250 Visa gift card upon completion of your next paving project. Call us today at 602-8931 or visit us at ParamountPavingLLC.com. Paramount Paving, setting the standard for excellence. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Hello, Ghostbusters! It's Doug. We help people customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. We got a bit of a situation. Sure, I can help.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
In theaters now.
Welcome to Talladega.
The NASCAR Cup Series from Talladega, Sunday on Fox.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear from a Mainer who's a new American Idol contestant and an extremely talented one at that. Plus, all the latest from court, where a man convicted for a 1988 murder will be back in court with new DNA evidence. All this and more, plus that full forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Welcome back. Husson students had the chance to show off some of their latest research during the return of an annual showcase today. Every year, the school hosts a Research and Scholarship Day to celebrate the work done by both students and faculty throughout the semester. This year, students presented projects in areas including PFAS, neurodegenerative disease therapy, and stress reduction. Those in attendance say they hope their studies will address real-world problems.
Very, very nice that we're able to have this work exposed to the public in a way that's not just like sitting in an amphitheater. You know, people are free to walk around and ask questions.
Just to see the culmination of all these different projects, it actually is something that's going to develop skills that will be used in the future.
This is Husson's 14th annual showcase and featured a total of 22 different projects. And to learn more about the work being done by Husson students, you can visit husson.edu.
The University of Maine and Maine Community College System announced a first-of-its-kind collaborative enrollment program today that aims to benefit community college students across the state. The Black Bear Advantage program is an innovative co-enrollment program between the institutions that creates a seamless transition for community college students who want to further their studies at the University of Maine or at UMaine Machias once obtaining their associate's degree. Educators say by having students gradually begin taking courses through UMaine, it mitigates the loss of community college credit that they say often happens through the transfer process.
I know that many of our students transfer to the University of Maine, but what's different about this agreement is it really starts from the beginning to create a connection between the two institutions.
We're going to see real synergies that come out of this, and I think it will only grow. So we're real thrilled to be partnering with the Community College System.
Representatives from both the University of Maine and Maine Community College System signed a memorandum of understanding to formalize the program. They hope it will ultimately grow the size and skill of the Maine workforce. The program is expected to be available to students in the fall.
Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County helps the community free of charge, and today they got some help to accomplish their mission. The Subaru Share the Love event takes place during November and December, and during that time, Subaru of America and Stanley Subaru in Trenton donate a portion of proceeds from every new car sold to a charity. Today, they gave Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County a check for almost $25,000.
We're also growing our services with palliative care. We know that's a very underserved population, really, with support from volunteers going into the home and providing companionship and respite. And many of the families that we see, they have been taking care of their loved ones for a long time and often really need a break.
For a small community organization, it's a great example of how people coming together can make a difference.
Right.
Well, to find out more about volunteering or their services, you can visit hospiceofhancock.org. All right.
All right, and coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, we'll have an update from the presidential campaign trail to include the latest on Trump's hush money trial.
And a medical breakthrough for children diagnosed with certain types of cancer. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Hey, Dad, look.
Us.
This is the magma chamber.
This isn't us, is it? When did we get so connected to our devices and so disconnected from each other?
She's not answering.
What? And when our phones have turned us into this, LT, what do you do when you're a company that sells them?
We gotta fix this.
It's time to find what we're missing. Join us in taking a break from our devices. Take the phones down for 5 challenge for 5 days, 5 hours, or even just 5 minutes.
Feels good.
And let's find us again. US Cellular. Built for us.
Bipolar 1, I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
We got help to push back with Lybalvi.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increased risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? Text copay to 45286.
Brackish River Bistro, an American restaurant sharing the Winterport Winery and Penobscot Bay Brewery building in the heart of Winterport. We have an incredible breakfast menu running until noon, brunch specials lasting until 3 p.m., happy hour on Wednesday and Thursday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Plus, we're open nightly for dinner and drinks. Take the drive to Winterport and taste what the Brackish River Bistro is all about. 279 South Main Street, Winterport. We look forward to seeing you.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
President Biden and former President Trump are running very different campaigns. While Biden tours the battleground state of Pennsylvania, Trump, meanwhile, is spending most of his time in a New York courtroom. Fox's Connor Hansen has more.
Supposed to be in a lot of different places campaigning, but I've been here all day on a trial that really is a very unfair trial.
Former President Trump continues to complain about his New York criminal trial, calling it politically motivated. 12 jurors and 1 alternate have now been chosen and will decide whether he broke the law and falsified business records. From the courthouse, Trump lashed out at Biden directly.
You got a crooked president. He should be on trial with all the stuff he's done in his family.
President Biden firing off attacks of his own from the campaign trail in Pennsylvania.
He means what he says.
And when he talks about being a dictator in the first day, he means being able to negate elements of the Constitution.
Biden appeared with several members of the Kennedy family who chose to endorse him over their own relative, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. A crucial state in the general election, Biden told voters they could decide his fate in November.
You're my ticket to the White House. You, Pennsylvania. No, it's not hyperbole. You're the ticket to the White House.
A new Fox News poll shows Biden and Trump are tied in the battleground states of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Meanwhile, in Georgia and Michigan, Trump holds a slight lead. When Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is factored into the polling, Trump has a slight advantage over Biden in all of those states except for Wisconsin. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, looking abroad now, Israel weighing its response to Iran following the weekend's missile and drone strike, and it comes as fighting escalates all along the Israel-Lebanon border. Fox's Jeff Paul has more.
Israeli forces are standing by for what could be a response to Iran's weekend missile and drone attack. However, some reports indicate Israel is unlikely to retaliate before the end of Passover, which begins Monday and ends April 30th. Strikes against the Islamic Republic were reportedly planned, but they were called off twice this week. Iran is threatening immediate retaliation if Israel responds.
Our missions are not going to decrease. They are only going to increase. The state of Israel should know that it has freedom of action to do what it wants.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the country will make its own decisions about how and when to defend itself. This as Western allies renew calls for Israel to exercise restraint in its response.
We have been incredibly clear with our partners in Israel and others about the need to avoid regional escalation as it continues to conduct operations in its self-defense.
On Thursday, the U.S. and U.K. imposed a new round of sanctions on Iran as concerns grow over a wider regional war.
This is a hugely dangerous moment that actually requires a broad scale of international support and mediation.
Meanwhile, cross-border fighting is intensifying between Israel and Iranian proxy Hezbollah. The militant group announcing Thursday Israeli airstrikes in southern and eastern Lebanon killed 2 fighters. It follows a drone attack by Hezbollah that injured 14 Israeli soldiers and 4 civilians. Israel's military says recent airstrikes also hit Hezbollah air defense units in Lebanon. In Tel Aviv, Israel, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
And of course, we are seeing breaking news reports now that Israel has in fact initiated a retaliatory strike against Iran, firing missiles and striking at least one site in that country. No clear word yet on any casualties inside Iran.
Meanwhile, attorneys for the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students say cell phone records can provide him with an alibi. The defense team for Brian Kohberger maintains he was on a nighttime drive when the massacre took place. Fox's Dan Springer has more.
In the latest Idaho court filing, accused quadruple murderer Brian Kohberger says he could not be the campus killer because he was stargazing. His attorney, Ann Taylor, writing, Mr. Kohberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, as he often did to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho. It's the back half of the route police say Kohberger took as he returned to his apartment after brutally stabbing to death 4 students in their sleep, and it's based on his phone pinging cell towers along the way. His alibi says there's no evidence Kohberger's phone was near the scene at the time of the 4 a.m. murders. Former detective and defense witness Cy Ray, who has a true crime YouTube show, will testify on Kohberger's behalf. But prosecutors argue the reason is simple. Kohberger just turned his phone off the 2 hours around the murders. What prosecutors do have is video of a car matching Kohberger's leaving the murder scene, and the same vehicle later back at Washington State University where Kohberger was getting his doctorate in criminology. Also, according to police, Kohberger's phone was near the murder scene just after 9 a.m. that morning, hours before police were called. But the biggest hurdle for defense attorneys will be convincing jurors to dismiss a knife sheath with his DNA found next to one of the victims.
If they feel that you're trying to insult their intelligence,
they're going to come down very hard on Brian Kohlberger. The evidence itself is overwhelming.
No trial date has been set, but in late June, Kohlberger's attorneys will argue for a change of venue, saying that he can't get a fair trial in Latah County. In Seattle, Dan Springer, Fox News.
Well, switching gears, there is some encouraging news for children suffering from certain types of cancer. Scientists are evaluating more than 100 medications for treating difficult and recurring cases.
When you find out your child has cancer, nothing else matters.
Diana Jenner's 3-year-old son Logan underwent 3 rounds of chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant, only to see his acute myeloid leukemia relapse at the age of 5.
When cancers return, doctors usually have a challenge in selecting treatments. It's like entering this gigantic maze.
Researchers at Florida International University believe they found a way to eliminate some of the trial and error in cancer treatment. Combining DNA analysis with extensive drug testing, the scientists say they're able to see within days how small samples of a patient's living cancer cells respond to numerous potential treatments.
We tested over 120 FDA-approved drugs directly on the patient's cancer cells, and we did that within a week.
The lab collaborated with Logan's doctor to identify treatments that worked and eliminate those that did not.
One of his medications is very toxic to the heart. And what our testing showed us was that the regimen without that medication worked just as well with the tumor cells as it did with it.
In a peer-reviewed pediatric study published in Nature Medicine, only 1 of 8 participants with advanced relapsed cancers saw improved health with standard treatment. But of the 6 children receiving treatments guided by the FIU lab, 5 improved, including Logan, now 8 years old and cancer-free for more than 2 years.
I don't think my son would be here without this study.
Although the small FIU study focused on children, researchers say their method also works in adults. They're conducting ongoing human trials with Cleveland Clinic. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Always just good to see any kind of sign of progress in the fight against cancer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like you can't find anyone these days that hasn't been affected or knows someone personally affected by it.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Saturdays, baseball's best are showing out. The biggest games on the best day of the week. Fox Saturday Baseball, all season long.
The Legacy Sandwich, where you can find quality homemade sandwiches that are made to order. When it comes to food, we take it seriously. That's why we serve shredded chicken and turkey on our sandwiches, and our bacon is cooked fresh daily. To pair with your sandwich, we also have a selection of homemade soups, macaroni salad, and baked goods for dessert. The Legacy Sandwich, voted Bangor's best deli sandwich shop for the past 12 years running. It's not just a sandwich, it's a legacy. Give us a call today.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
Hey Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick 'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes, from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge, or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer.
Welcome back. Home sales in March posted their biggest decline in a year and a half. Fox Business's Jeff Flock has the latest from Philadelphia.
I'm inside what can be lovingly described as a fixer-upper. Yeah, it's got the old paneling on the walls, the ceiling tiles that maybe we all haven't seen in a while, that drop ceiling. And yeah, on the floor, that would be shag carpet from the 70s. But it's the perfect kind of home for a first-time home buyer. Why? Because it's 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, and $225,000 in an up-and-coming neighborhood in Philadelphia. But these kinds of sales haven't been happening for first-time home buyers. Take a look at these numbers, the latest on existing home sales from the National Association of Realtors, down 4% month over month and a similar amount year over year. Why is that? Well, because in addition to interest rates, which haven't been too kind to the first-time home buyer either. Albert Moore with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Yes, with the property taxes going up and the property home insurance going up, along with the rising interest rate, many buyers sitting on the sideline waiting, trying to wait to purchase a property.
Yeah. Take a look at the numbers. We have them on property tax increases. Last year, the biggest gain since 2018. Highest states, well, neighboring New Jersey, almost $10,000 on average for property tax each year. Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts also. Cheapest property taxes, by the way, head to West Virginia, less than $1,000 a year there, and also other states in the South. Home insurance has been jumping too, as Albert pointed out, up 26% in the last few years. Florida, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and Oklahoma, states where you get tornadoes and hurricanes. But those are so important, those figures, because that figures into your monthly payment, right?
Absolutely. Everything goes into your monthly payment, and as the home prices go up, the property taxes will continue to rise right along with it.
Yeah. Tough for that first-time home buyer. Yeah, a lot of vintage stuff here, but you know, I'll leave you with a picture maybe you don't typically see anymore. That is a vintage bathroom from the 1970s, just waiting for somebody to come in and maybe freshen it up a little bit. I'm Jeff Locke with the Fox Business Network in Philadelphia.
Don't you just love a fixer-upper? All right, well, this Texas man isn't going to let his age take an axe to his artistry. Fox's Lauren Rangel catches up with Victor Torres, a 90-year-old tree artist.
It's hard not to stand and gape at the fine details on this tree.
I'm so impressed. He did literally the angel and owl just today. The work alone is impressive, but his age is even more impressive.
Meet the artist, Victor Torres.
I've been higher than that.
He just turned 90.
But I feel strong yet. What any young man can do, I can do it too.
Torres has been at this job since he was 15.
I feel good when I start something like this, and the more I work, the better I feel.
He can look at just a stump and see like shapes, then I'm like, yeah, I see it, and I don't see it until he starts actually carving. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's actually genius.
Casey Merrill hired Torres to give her dying ash tree a second chance.
It is a huge tree. It just felt like you can't necessarily replace it. So the idea of just cutting that big of a tree down, even if it was dying, it was hit hard during the freeze. It just, to me, I didn't see that necessarily as an option.
This is what that tree looked like before Torres, and this is it now.
I feel like when I'm doing something like this, like they're telling me to get him out of there. You know, and that's what makes me go at it harder.
And he'll keep carving as long as he can. After all,
it took 90 years to look this good.
The tree perhaps has also never looked better.
It's been dead, but it's alive now.
Just an incredible story there. Well, back here at home, an organization that supports individuals with developmental disabilities were at Oak Hill Cemetery assisting Brewer Parks and Recreation in an annual outdoor event. Our Matthew Jurancic was there.
Adults and children at Downey's Horizons got their hands dirty Thursday morning as part of its Earth Day cleanup.
We try to instill upon our program participants and our staff that giving back to your community is a really important thing.
Participants got their gear ready and hit the ground running to clean up the cemetery.
It has been so fun to see them all be a part of the community and help pick up. The kids have seemed to have a lot of fun lugging sticks to put them in the side-by-side and being silly.
Tell me, how much fun did you have today?
I have very much fun. It was cool, but it got tiring, but still fun.
My favorite part is like same thing, everything.
Oh, come on, you had to have one part.
Just everything, but I did like cleaning up by the road.
While it's nice having fun in the sun, Zambrano says there's an underlying message with Thursday's event.
We're showing the public that these folks who have developmental disabilities can be productive parts of our society. They can give back to their society just as well as anybody else.
Officials with Brewer Parks and Recreation say the extra hands are a huge help.
What they do in 2 hours of cleanup would take a crew of 4 guys about 2 days, and they don't leave a stick behind, so I really appreciate the work that they do.
And the department surprised the crew with a billboard recognizing their work. In Brewer, Matthew Jurancic, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, they certainly had the right day to get out there and do it.
Yeah, they absolutely did. It was a gem out there, and it sounds like there are more days like that to come.
Yes, we're certainly happy to hear that. Your full 5-day is coming up.
And another marvelous day out there today. Lots of sunshine, just a few passing clouds. Temperatures around 60 degrees. What a nice day. But I am tracking a little bit more rain back in the area. When? I'll have the timing and more coming up.
So we've lived in this house coming up 23 years. We just bought the tractor, and I haven't any idea how we survived without it.
We're trying to rebuild the rock wall on this new property. She says, pick that rock up and put it here. No, it'll look better if you turn it this way. No, we're gonna need to move it over there 5 feet.
I would come to him and say, can you do this for me? And he'd kind of, do the, ugh. But now he has a tractor. He's much more motivated.
Experience United, your local John Deere dealer.
There are plenty of good reasons to have a dock at your camper lakefront home and to choose a ShoreMaster premium dock system or floating poly dock system from Hammond Lumber Company. Lightweight and durable, ShoreMaster high-grade aluminum docks are easy to install and maintain, and poly docks are perfect for dealing with deep or fluctuating water levels. Both offer a wide range of available configurations. There's a ShoreMaster or poly dock system that's right for you, and you'll find it at Hammond Lumber Company.
Let's face it, getting training and experience is hard, but at Loring Job Corps, we can help. From certifications in automotive technology, obtaining your CDL, or learning building trades, we have you covered. Maybe you prefer joining the high-tech world of computer networking or cybersecurity. We have that as well. Don't delay, get in the driver's seat to your future today. And the best part, Loring Job Corps is free. Receive free training, free meals, and even free housing. Call or go to jobcorps.gov/Loring. Job Corps careers begin here.
From the land to the sea, Chase's Family Restaurant is the place to be.
Are you looking for a place to unwind after a long day?
Then come check out our Hideaway Lounge.
With a bar that's both upbeat and laid back. And it's the perfect atmosphere for anyone who wants to unwind after work.
Or kick it up for the weekends with daily drink specials and a full dinner menu.
You can fill up on a good time any night of the week.
Thank you for being a part of our family.
Here at Chase's Family Restaurant. The baddest superstars on the planet are unleashed in prime time. From the heavens! All new Friday Night SmackDown at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Welcome back. Let's get right into this. A little bit of severe weather right down south, right by Missouri into Illinois once again. 2 days ago, there were several tornadoes in Iowa and right at that border of Illinois as well. So once again, more severe weather is making its way in the Midwest. For us, though, folks, no severe weather. We're talking just a few passing clouds here and there. A little bit more rain will be moving in late Friday nights into the day on Saturday. But for now, we are in the clear. By tomorrow, we're going to continue to see a little bit more clouds rolling in by those afternoon to evening hours. And then the main event arrives overnight, mainly by those morning hours on Saturday. But this isn't going to be a big rain event at all. We're talking a quick shot of rain showers for maybe 10-hour period throughout the day on Saturday. And then things will start to improve. So by Sunday, finally in the clear. Now, not much rain is on the way. We're talking maybe a quarter of an inch. The most we're probably looking at Bar Harbor, Machias. Here in town, we're talking less than 0.2 of an inch of rain. And north of that, less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. Now, let's talk some exciting news, right? This rain, I know it's coming in. It's not going to be anything heavy, but look at these temperatures. Some 50s, some 60s the last several days, well above average. And today, once again, we had some above average temperatures. We should be at 55. We were at closer to 60 today. Tomorrow, once again, closer to 60, closer to average Saturday. Same story Sunday, Monday. Even by Tuesday, we're looking at temperatures in those mid to upper 50s. Maybe by middle of next week, that's when a little bit more cooler air starts to roll in. Possibly some 40s will make a return. For now, though, we're looking at temperatures near average for this time of year overnight tonight. We're going to be hovering at around freezing, mainly clear skies and a very light breeze. Now, for tomorrow, though, another beautiful day. I would highly recommend going outside, enjoying the outdoors, maybe some sports. 50s and 60s are perfect outdoor sport type of days. Maybe plant some seed for some plants, vegetables, just anything outdoors. You know I'm going to be outdoors just enjoying the vitamin C from the sun, of course. Lots of sunshine on the way. Our extended forecast outlook does show a little bit of rain moving in Friday night into Saturday. Saturday is going to be that day where you want to have an umbrella. You maybe don't want to be outdoors. We're going to be looking at mid-50s, rain showers in the area. Not heavy, light, maybe up to moderate criteria at times for a couple of hours. And then we're going to finally start to clear up Saturday night. Temperatures back in those mid-30s. By Sunday, much better. Lots of sunshine back in those mid-50s. Overnight lows back at around freezing. And take a look at Monday and Tuesday. Monday, we're going to be back under a mostly sunny sky, 53 degrees. 57 by Tuesday under a partly cloudy sky. So much better weather conditions are back in the forecast.
So I think he meant vitamin D, but point taken. And we do agree, get outside now that we finally can.
Yeah, but vitamin C is important too. You should also be taking that.
Maybe you could take some oranges, go sit on a blanket outside, and then you'll get both.
All the vitamins are good.
All the vitamins. All right.
Sports is coming up next. Stay with us.
You're in the driver's seat. You choose what road to take. But soon, you'll be taking a back seat to big government, because President Biden just banned most new gas-powered cars. They've made it clear, it's their way or the highway, even if electric vehicles aren't right for you or your family. Call Senator King. Tell him to stop the car ban before it's too late. Don'tBanOurCars.com, paid for by American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, makes driving a new car affordable. Right now, lease a brand new Kia Forte for just $199 a month. You get 41 mpg highway and tons of technology. Or lease a brand new all-wheel drive Kia Seltos for just $259 a month. Or buy a brand new Kia Sportage for under $30,000. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business, making driving affordable at Van Sickle Kia.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it. A quality replacement window made with Fibrix material, which is twice as strong as vinyl, delivered through a stress-free process. Welcome to Renewal by Andersen. Get the peace of mind knowing Renewal by Andersen handles everything, from start to finish. With one call, you'll enjoy working with the best people, exclusive products, and a superior process.
It's the people. It's the process.
It's the product.
Call now to get our exceptional signature service. This fantastic offer is available only for a limited time. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Engstrom's Auto Service in Guilford. We specialize in all foreign and domestic service and alignments.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to start with some high school softball at Nokomis. The Warriors are the defending B-North champs, and they debut a brand new pitcher-catcher combination this season. But it's not as new as you may think because they're family. Ryan Sudol has more.
Whenever a pitcher begins a new season with a new catcher, the adjustment can be very difficult. That is, unless the one behind the plate is your own flesh and blood.
She's my best friend, and so getting able to throw every pitch in my senior year to my best friend is just unmatched.
Senior pitcher Mia Coots and freshman catcher Hallie Coots are in their first year together for Nokomis softball, but their bond goes way beyond the field.
I think it's amazing, and I love that I get to share it with her and to work together as a team.
Save the fact that Mia is her sister, Hallie is stepping behind the plate catching for one of the top pitchers in the entire state. But she's taking it head on.
That's a tough call. And for her to step up and take that role, and then she did well, really well today.
I'm just really grateful that she's as athletic as she is, and she's sacrificing everything for the team this year.
As she has stepped out of her comfort zone. This is Hallie's first time catching competitively ever. But having Mia by her side makes her transition easier too.
I'm really comfortable with her. She's great to work with, and she's so patient. She calls me off if she needs it and works with me, makes me feel better as a catcher.
In turn, Hallie makes sure Mia feels better as a pitcher.
My favorite things is that after I throw a good pitch, she has no shame in saying, "Wow, Sissy, great pitch," and that's just really special. It's like probably my most favorite memory of high school softball so far.
And when these two click, the team does too. So coming off a regional title, there are some lofty expectations.
Winning the state championship? Okay, I'm just kidding. As the season goes on, we're going to work together and become the best we can. I'm just so excited to keep throwing to my sister and keep growing with this team and keep winning games and keep showing everyone that Nokomis is still a top dog.
And just in case you think this sisterly bond is for the camera.
Actually, I want to show you something.
Go ahead.
Wait. It's her handwriting.
Get out of here.
I'm serious.
Seriously adorable. In Newport, I'm Ryan Sudol, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thanks for that, Ryan. We're going to go to Maine football now. The Black Bears spring practice is nearly ending as they prepare for Saturday's Jeff Cole Memorial Spring Game at Alphons Stadium. The game starts at 10 a.m. and will be one of the first times the Black Bear faithful will get to see this year's squad in action. Their practices and scrimmages were open, if you caught those. With such a huge turnover from last year's roster, a huge focus on the game will be to get as many bodies out there as possible and provide as many opportunities to show how much noise they can make.
We want to have a great day. We want to have a day where we can get film of everyone on the roster and get them evaluated, and they have something to learn from. You know, we have to get players on the field to do that.
But just to finish strong, just to strain to finish, you know, that's the biggest thing, just finish strong. Everybody trusting their techniques, everybody depending on each other. You know, we put a lot of work in. You know, we just want to put it all together and show our fans out here what we're capable of being this season.
All right, spring game is always fun. Let's go back to the Diamond now. Over in Brewer, it was a night that many have been waiting for, the first official Fill the Hill night in a very long time. Brewer baseball with their season opener, first official game on the Hedrick turf with the softball team right behind them. We're going to start with the boys. Oxford Hills Vikings, the visitors in this one, taking on the Witches for Brewers opening day. Vikings down 2-0 in the top of the sixth here. Colton Gendrick on first for Brady Truman. Truman gets a hold of this one deep to center. That's going to get to the wall. Gendrick on his horse. He will score. Truman gets to third with a triple. Bottom six was a big one for the Witches, and Hunter Merrithew would start it off. He rips one into right past the second baseman. Grady Venetestein scores from first. Witches are up 3-2. Still in the sixth, what a big inning. Brewer up 11-2 here. Jake Perry bloops one into no man's land. Left fielder dives, but he can't grab it. Merrithew scores to make it 12-2, and that would end the ball game. Witches win. All right, to Coffin Field now for the softball game between the two. First inning is where we'll pick it up. Oxford Hills up 1 with a runner on third. Sarah Young on the bump. She's going to get the strikeout here. 2 down now, and then we'll move on to the next batter. It's Cameron Mahon, and she makes good contact, but Jordan Williams scoops it up bat short, and she gets the out, which is out of the jam. But the Vikings were too much in this one. Kiara Morris at the plate. She gets a hold of this one, gets all the way to the wall. She gets to third, brings a few runs home on her way. Oxford Hills wins 9-5. All right, back to baseball now. It was a good day all around on Thursday at Hadlock Field with the Sea Dogs. The Dogs taking down New Hampshire 3-0 on a beautiful day at the ballpark. And it was exactly 30 years ago from Thursday on April 18th, 1994, the Portland Sea Dogs played their very first game at Hadlock Field in Portland. Back then, the Dogs were the Florida Marlins affiliate, the Sea Dogs dropping a tough one to the Albany Colony Yankees 7-6 in that inaugural home game, but professional baseball arrived in Portland and has been thriving ever since. In fact, the Sea Dogs are the longest-running Maine professional sports franchise in state history.
We played one of the smallest markets in AA baseball, yet we're always amongst the attendance leaders, and that's a testament to the fans that come out and support us on a daily basis here. And we always like to bring something fun to the fans, whether it's a rebrand or a bobblehead or fireworks night. There's always going to be something special and fun here for the fans to come out and see.
Hadlock is always a good time. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
Transform your surroundings with Paramount Paving, located in Bangor. They are your paving and seal coating experts. Whether it's residential maintenance to full commercial projects, Paramount Paving delivers quality that lasts. Book before June 1st and enjoy a $250 Visa gift card upon completion of your next paving project. Call us today at 602-8931 or visit us at ParamountPavingLLC.com. Paramount Paving, setting the standard for excellence. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Two Old Goats Antiquities and Artisans is located in Trenton. Our shop is open year-round, offering more than 3,000 square feet of antiques, furniture, collectibles, and just plain fun stuff. We are a group shop featuring 18 different vendors, each with their own style. We buy and sell vintage items, antiques, and curios. For more info, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Two Old Goats Antiquities and Artisans, 749 Bar Harbor Road in Trenton. We know once you've stopped in and seen all the great deals we have to offer, you'll be back.
When My Mechanic Company wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. My Mechanic Company, located in Carmel, is your go-to for auto repair. Whether you need brakes, tires, diagnostics, or a state inspection, My Mechanic has you covered. Come see why My Mechanic should be your mechanic.
These days you can buy a new mattress anywhere. However, getting the right mattress at the right price will keep you up at night. When you're ready for a new mattress, come to Dorsey's. We've delivered more mattresses to this area than any other retailer. With over 48 years of experience, the largest in-stock selection, plus our 30-night sleep guarantee, we've got the right mattress for you at a great price. Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A, Holden. Sleep well, my friends.
Angler's Restaurant in Newport, open daily from 11 to 8. We are your home for fresh seafood. Our specialty is scallops, lobster, fish and chips, and of course, lobster rolls. Now, if seafood is not your preference, we offer fan favorites like cheeseburgers and chicken tenders. Stop by for the atmosphere and stay for the incredible dining experience. Anglers, Maine's family seafood restaurant.
It's television's ballsiest family quiz show. The Quiz with Balls premieres Tuesday, May 28th on Fox.
An Oscar-nominated actress announces her debut album. The biopic of a legendary crooner is in the works, and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with all of the latest in the Hollywood nation.
Hudson's Glorious release date, a hit rom-com on Broadway, and Scorsese's new projects in the Hollywood nation. Martin Scorsese may bring the life story of a legendary crooner to the screen. According to Variety, the filmmaker plans to direct a Frank Sinatra biopic with longtime collaborator Leonardo DiCaprio portraying Old Blue Eyes and Jennifer Lawrence as Sinatra's second wife and actress Ava Gardner. Scorsese has yet to receive approval from Sinatra's estate to make the film. Variety also reports that Scorsese is looking to independently finance and direct Life of Jesus and is eyeing Andrew Garfield and Miles Teller to star in the project.
These people aren't just rich, they're crazy rich.
Crazy Rich Asians is heading to Broadway. A musical adaptation of the hit 2018 rom-com is being developed by Warner Brothers, with the film's director John M. Chu on board to direct. The production marks Chu's Broadway directorial debut. He took In the Heights from stage to screen and is currently helming Universal's two-part Wicked film adaptation. Kate Hudson has a full album on the way. The Oscar-nominated actress turned singer announced Glorious will be out May 17th and teased it with the release of her new track, Gonna Find Out. The tune follows her previously released singles, Talk About Love and Live Forever. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Finally tonight, a powerful young singer from Maine is taking American Idol by storm as she makes the top 14. Our Grace Blanchard got a chance to speak with Julia Gagnon about the life-changing experience she never expected.
Local Julia Gagnon is continuing to stun the nation with her powerful vocals as she makes it into American Idol's top 14 lineup.
Has this been the biggest thing that you've done in your music career so far?
This has been the biggest thing I've done in my life so far, so definitely the music career as well, yes.
The 22-year-old from Cumberland has been making headlines since her Idol audition aired back in March. She says she never expected what would follow.
It's just been a whirlwind of great things, unexpected things, and I think it's changed me as a person to make me more grateful, but also a little more strong.
She says the support from her family, people all across the state and the nation has been a great motivator.
I'm really just surprised by how many local people share their stories with me, how many local businesses reach out and want to help me. It's just amazing. It's such a great feeling.
Julia says she has great aspirations beyond her time on the Idol stage, but for now is enjoying every second of the experience.
Everybody here is so humble, and I don't think any of us expected to get that far. So have a little bit more faith in yourself and do it and understand that you could go really far.
To see just how far Julia goes, tune into ABC 7 at 8 p.m. Sunday. In studio, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Oh man, just wishing her the very best, and it's amazing to hear her sing. What a voice.
And you got to imagine that people all the way across the state will be tuning in on Sunday, rooting her on.
Absolutely, all the support coming from your fellow Mainers.
That's right.
All righty, well that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and good night.
Have a great rest of your evening.